Doop-a-da-doo-doo-doo. Well, good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Popping another one on you. Another b.hive Productions Croons on Tuesday. And, well, I haven't been able to play guitar for a while, so, because I injured my hand, and I've been exercising it. I've got most of the feeling back in my hand now, so it's pretty good. Still kind of jamming off and on, just to jam a little bit, relax a little bit, back and forth. And, hey Kev, welcome to the show. So I hope you got everything cleaned up down there in Florida, and I hope it didn't cost you a whole lot of money, buddy. So hope the motor scoot didn't get wet. So anyhow, yeah. So I thought I would start reading you guys some of the poetry from my book, Napkin Rants, and we've made it over halfway through the book. So I thought tonight we would finish her up here on, what is this? This is night number 3, so part 3 of this. So, yeah. Anyhow, the scooter is safe. Well, then all is good. Well, and how about the fur babies? Those, your dogs are okay? I'm hoping. So, anyhow, dogs are always pretty good in water. Mine, you could never get her out of the water. So, anyhow, so yeah, I just thought I'd read you guys some poetry and some prose from my book, Napkin Rants. It's a book that I wrote while medicating myself with lots and lots of whiskey. Jack Daniels and Jameson were my friends, and I was in a pretty bad place for a while after Mom had died and Grandma had died, and I was out of a relationship that I thought was going to go forever, and yeah, so anyhow, there's a lot of bitterness. There was a lot of healing going on there too. It's not all depressing stuff. And there are also excerpts from a book I was going to write called Love is Irrelevant, and I ended up not writing it. I ended up writing the book I'm writing now, The Ballad of Broken Bird, which I really need to get back to writing again. So, but yeah. So anyhow, this is what tonight's all about. We might go a little bit long because this is a pretty long, chock full book of stories and poems and observations I wrote while medicating on whiskey, listening to outlaw country songs in a dive bar called Pimo's Bar and Grill. Anyhow, I got my favorite cup of coffee called F Off I'm Writing. So it's very fitting for me because I do get crabby when I'm writing. So I wish I could find some music that didn't have commercials, but yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do that unless I pay for a premium service. And right now I'm not paying for nothing because I ain't making nothing. So there. All right. Let's hear it, brother. Take us on a journey. All right, man. Welcome, Bobby. Thank you for joining. Bobby's gonna run for write-in city council. So those of you from Winthrop that vote and you're not happy with what's going on in the city council, he's your guy. He's your guy. So he's got my vote. And that's right. I wasn't going to talk politics here on my podcast, but yeah, just a little support from my friend Bobby. He's a good guy. And anyhow, I endorse him. So let's jump into Bar Napkin Rants, and let's see where we are here. All right. Love is Irrelevant, number 10. When I got to Omaha, we planned to meet up at her friend's house where she told her parents she was staying the night. I picked her up and we went off to get a hotel room. But the place we planned to stay would only accept credit cards and I had none. I was a starving art student, for fuck's sake. So what did we do? We drove to the park, camped out in the back of my old man's Bronco 2. Yeah, same Bronco 2 that was going to be mine and Gina's first time. That thought made me hesitate. But why? Why am I hesitating? Gina said she wanted to wait with me. After 3 years of dating, she wanted to wait, and I was okay with waiting because I loved her. Then I moved. She fucked my foster brother. And what the fuck is that? Yeah. Fuck the sentimental shit. Liz wanted to fuck, and I wanted to fuck, and we were going to fuck, and fuck we did. Sorry for the Effenheimers there. That was my first time, and that was Liz's first time. It wasn't some romantic fantasy that we all made it out to be as teens. It was rough, sweaty, and awkward. Don't get me wrong, it did feel great, but that first time, there was no emotion there. Just a need. Bar napkin number 50. Good evening, Chuck. Good to see you, buddy. So, what are these little badges that you guys got over here? Oh, it's a follower anniversary, Chuck. You've been following me for a year. How about that? Boom. What's Kevin got here? Top fan. Kevin is a top fan. Bobby, you gotta step up your game, brother. All right. Bar napkin number 50. The sun rips through a cloud, warms the skin, and opens the eye. I see you lying next to me, a smile on your sleeping lips. I can't wait for your eyes to open and see me, drowning in that beautiful abyss that is your stare. The sun warms me, and I you. Don't be afraid to touch me. I was made for this, and so much more. Did you say badgers? Bar napkin number 51. Every breath, every tear, every laugh, every moan, I hope that it's forever. This thing, this whatever, this love? I don't know what it is. Only that you're the lost puzzle piece in this thing I call a life. Some days are bad when I can't smile anymore. I can't fight. When reality catches up and hits me in the face with a cinder block. Some days are dark, cold and hopeless when I can't even pretend I'm a shallow pool of emotional distress. Some days, I wish I could just quit breathing. But someone, somewhere, like a shot of adrenaline. And I brush off the dust, and I keep trudging forward. Love is Irrelevant, number 11. That's me. At a funeral for a kid I used to babysit with a girl I was friends with in high school. It was her little brother, but he wasn't little anymore. He was 21, and for some reason, he had shot himself in the head. I got the call late at night. I don't know how Lynn found my phone number, but she did. Bradley? The voice was recognizable, but it was late, and I wasn't coherent. Yeah, I said groggily. Who is this? It's me, Lynn. Who? I know it's been a while, but it's me, Lynn Anderson. Holy shit, Blondie? That was her nickname I gave her back in the early 80s. I haven't been called that in a very long time. What's up? What's happening? I just thought that you should know. Know what? It's James. He committed suicide. Jesus, James? Your little brother, James. Oh my God, honey, I'm so sorry. Thanks. She was sobbing now. How's your mom and dad taking it? As you would expect them to. It was a dumb question, but in situations like this, I don't know. I don't think anyone really knows what to say. Please send my love to your family, Lynn. Can you come? To the funeral? Yes, of course. When is it? It's in a couple of days. We'll be having it in Fair Lakes. Yeah, I'll be there. Thanks, Bradley. That means a lot to me. No worries, hon. I'll be there. I'll book a hotel when I get off the phone with you. I've always had a bit of a crush on Lynn, and I was excited to see her, even under these circumstances. But that all changed when I met her husband and her 4 kids. It was good to see everyone. Despite the somber mood of everyone, it was healing to have those from your past comfort one another. I really think that's really what it's all about. Why we're all here. Support when we really need it. Her husband and kids weren't very happy to meet me. They had heard Lynn talk about me a lot before I got there. And I understood. I don't know how I'd feel if some guy showed up from my wife's past, whom she talked about constantly. So when the funeral was over and the after dinner was done, I went back to my Super 8 room and started to retire. But there was a knock on my door. Hi, Brad, Lynn said outside my hotel room. Hey, I said nervously, looking around. What are you doing here? I just wanted to see you. We barely had time to visit. Well, your husband and kids weren't very warm towards me, so I thought at best I'd keep my distance. She smiled a bit. Yeah, you were the topic of conversation all the way home. So you decided it was a good idea to come to my hotel room? I told them I was going to check on my mom. Well, come in. She came in and we sat on the bed. I'm so sorry, Lynn, I said, patting her on the back. I can't imagine how this feels. It's so unfair. She started to sob and I held her into my shoulder. It is, Lynn. Just let it out. Oh, Brad, I've missed you so much. Her arms tightened around me. And I've missed you too. She looked up at me and caressed my face with her hand. It should have been you, she said in a whisper. That died? No, silly. I guess I don't understand what you mean. I should have married you. I didn't know what to say to that. I just sat there silently, staring into her eyes. She leaned in to kiss me, and I kissed her back. Lynn, I said when we came up for air, you're grieving. We can't do this. Do you remember the pact we made when we were kids? I really don't remember a whole lot from back in the day. We said if we didn't find anyone to marry by the time we were 30, we'd marry each other. We did? Bradley, I've always loved you. Why are you telling me this now, after your brother's funeral, after you got married and had a mess of kids? I was stupid back then. Lynn, we were all stupid back then. Can I stay the night? Lynn, I want you to, but I don't think now is a good time to. We can just lay next to each other. We don't have to do anything. You've always made me feel safe. Do you remember when Dad would get violent? You were always there. Well, I was your friend, Lynn. Of course I'm going to be there. And be there for me tonight, please? I stood up and pulled the blankets back on my bed. She undressed and climbed in. I crawled into the other side after undressing. She curled up next to me and buried her head in my chest and draped her leg across my hip. I reached over and turned off the light and then put my arm around her. I love you, Bradley, she said again. I love you too, Lynn, I said into her ear. Can you call me Blondie again? I love you too, Blondie. She leaned over and kissed me long and hard. She felt her way around me and we made love. It was beautiful. But in the morning, she was gone. For good. Behind the veil. Who knows what life is like after this one? Who knows what lies beyond that great gossamer veil? The Christians think they know. They write gospels on it. They each have their own version. The JWs and the Mormons will bring it to your door and ram it down your throat. The Catholics and their saints, the Muslims and their martyrs, the Buddhists just watch it happen. The scientists and their theories, the poets and their literal spitting, the philosophers and the anarchaic wisdom, the atheists and their maggot food. Every heathenistic one of us, we all arrogantly think we know what lies behind curtain number 2. But when our bright light gets blown out, we'll all see. Maybe with a small chuckle, maybe with a mind-shattering scream, or perhaps just a quiet sigh. We'll all see just how wrong we all really are. Love is Irrelevant, number 12. That's me, standing by the popcorn machine at Doc's Bar with my high school friend Mark. It's ladies' night, and we, like most guys at that age, we were looking for crumbs. There were male strippers in the back, so when the dancers had a break, we'd move in. The first break came, and out they came from the back room. Out she came. She had long, thick, curly hair and those dark brown eyes. She came walking towards us. Holy shit, man, I said nervously. Look at her. Dude, Mark said, she wouldn't give you the time of day. She came over and excused herself as she went for some popcorn. She scooped up a bowl of popcorn and began to walk away. Hey, I shouted after her. She turned around. That shit ain't free. She walked up to me, handed the popcorn to Mark, and laid a long, wet kiss on my mouth. She withdrew, and I tried to catch my breath. How's that? She smiled. That will work. She didn't return to the back room. She sat up at the bar, and I bought her a drink. Brad, I said, holding out my hand. Susie, she said, and shook my hand. We danced and made out in the parking lot. Before I left, she asked for my number. I took off my shirt and wrote it on the sleeve. You could have just used a napkin, she laughed. This way you have to see me again to return my shirt, I laughed back. She called me, and we went out and played pool at a place called Russ's Pub. She really craved love. Maybe not, that's not it. Maybe she just craved the affection. Maybe that's it. Because at the end of the night, she laid something heavy on me. Brad, she started, I need to make some ground rules before this goes any further. Okay. This was different. First of all, I still love my husband. Okay, that stung a bit. He died about 5 months ago in a canoe accident on the Cannon River. Oh, Jesus, Susie, I'm sorry. Let me finish. I'm just looking for something physical. The companionship is nice, but I really just want the physical thing right now. No strings. Which means, well, if you're horny, then call me. If I'm horny, I'll call you. Just know I love yous right now, okay? That works, I agreed without thinking. We called each other a lot. There wasn't a free moment we weren't together doing stuff. We went to dinner, movies, etc., but always ended up with sex, and then she sent me on my way when she was happy. For a while, it worked for me. There was no drama, and I always got what I came for. Then I made one very crucial, idiotic, stupid mistake. When I asked you for your number, you just told it to me. I didn't get a shirt. Yeah, you gotta be kind of special, Bobby, to get a shirt. Sorry, man. It was New Year's Eve. It was a perfect night. We partied with a bunch of her friends. None of us could drive, so it was a sleepover. It was the first morning I woke up next to her. She was beautiful, that angelic face lying there in a bed of her thick hair, her naked body with curves in the right places. I got up and made breakfast, put it all on a tray and woke her up. "Oh my," she said, "breakfast in bed?" "Eggs a la Bradley," I smiled. "Perfect. I'll be back with one more surprise." I went out into the living room and grabbed someone's guitar lying there against a couch. I went back into her room and began to sing Susie Q by CCR to her. "Susie Q, baby, I love you. Oh, Susie Q." "Thank you, Brad. That was beautiful." I love you, Susie," I said in a half whisper. "What?" "I said, I love you." It was a little louder. "Brad, we talked about this." "I know we did. We've been seeing each other for a while now. I just thought." She was silent for a long time. She put the tray of eggs and bacon on my side of the bed. "Susie, I can't do this, Bradley." It almost sounded like she was crying. "I'm sorry. I'm not very good with hiding my feelings." "And how long have you felt this way about me?" "I don't know. Maybe a month." "Brad, I'm sorry. I just can't." "Your husband?" She just nodded her head in the affirmative. "And how do you argue that away? How do you justify feeling angry that she won't let her dead husband go?" "You don't. You just tell her you're sorry. You kiss her on the forehead, and you walk away." This one's called Longitude Latitude. We met in a bar. We met on my couch. We met in my bed. We slow danced after hours to a whiskey-soaked song. We made promises. We planned adventures. We talked till past the wee hours of the morning. And now, I'm mourning you. The curves of your body, the heat of your breath, the love of your heart, the morning texts, the midnight texts, the phone calls. I guess I should feel grateful that you chose my heart to break. But that's the song of a rebound guy. Bar napkin number 52. Do you miss the dead? Or do you just feel guilt for all the time you wasted fighting with them, ignoring them, and hating them? Bar napkin number 53. I never thought I'd be the guy who fell into an alcoholic rage and passed out in a lawn. And wondered what the fuck happened the next day. Yet here I am, grass in my teeth, whiskey on my tongue, and friends at a distance. Love is Irrelevant number 13. I'll remember this day for as long as I live. I worked part-time shift with the New Plymouth Police Department covering a full-time officer on vacation. I got home about 5:30 in the morning. I was on an adrenaline high from work, so I stayed up until 10 a.m. Kay didn't say anything to me. She just got up and left for work without saying a word to me. I shrugged it off and went off to sleep. I awoke at 6 p.m., half expecting the smell of her home cooking. But there was no smell. The house was silent. And maybe she worked late, or maybe she's at the grocery store, or went out for drinks with friends. But it wasn't any of those. She rolled in about 8 p.m. She looked as if she had been crying all day. Her cheeks were raw. She didn't look at me at all. She just went straight to our room and locked the door. I knocked a few times. "Kay?" I said to complete silence. I marked that one up for the hormones again. I slept on the spare bed. At 3 a.m. she came into the room and woke me up. "Brad?" she said. She sounded hoarse, as if she'd been crying. "Yeah," I said groggily. "What's up, honey?" "I don't want you to be mad at me." "What? Why would I be mad at you?" "I've been doing a lot of thinking about the baby, about being a parent." "Oh, me too." "No, you don't understand, Brad. I don't think I can do this. In fact, I know I can't do this." She began to sob again. I wrapped my arms around her and kissed her head. "Shh," I whispered. "Honey, it's going to be okay. We're going to be great parents. You're just getting the jitters. Every parent goes through this." "I can't, Brad. I just can't." She was hysterical. "I can't bring up a child. I'm too fucked up in the head." "Kay, just take it easy. None of us are perfect." "You're gonna be so mad at me. You're gonna hate me." "We're a team, baby." "I had an abortion." Silence. Silence, not because I'm a pro-life advocate, but because that was my child growing inside there. I was going to be its dad. I was going to give it a better childhood than I ever had. The baby was going to cure Kay of her depression. I was going to have someone love me unconditionally. I got off the bed, leaving Kay there sobbing. "See," she whined, "I told you. You would hate me." "I don't hate you, Kay." And part of that was a lie. Because right at that moment, I hated her so bad I wanted to choke the life from her fucking face. "You do too." "I can tell. I can tell it in your eyes." She reached out and wanted me to return to bed and comfort her. But all I could think about was that little life that never got to meet me. That never got a chance at life because this fucked up piece of shit of a wife killed my fucking kid. "I'm going to go for a drive," I said coldly. "Where are you going?" she cried some more. "I don't know, Kay." I raised my voice. "I just can't be around you right now. I can't deal with this. This crazy. I need to clear my head." I look back, and I am glad I didn't stay. Because several times I looked at my service pistol and thought about putting a hollow point in her fucking head. But I walked out, leaving her heaping pile of schizoid emotions. I drove to the police department. I went downstairs into the shooting range and I wasted about 6 boxes of ammo. And then I drove to the Golden Valley Park Reserve and I walked in the woods until the sun came through the dense branches. And I cried. I cried in anger. I cried in grief. I was angry at God. I was angry at myself. I was angry at Kay. I was angry at life. So I busted my knuckles hitting an old cottonwood. Cancer. The eater of souls, the eater of life, the eater of will, the eater of loved ones. I've fought you twice. I don't know if I can do it again. That last one almost took all the fight from me. However you creep back into my life, I'll be waiting for you. Bar napkin number 55. Pour me another drink, motherfucker. I've got to drown this monster before he resurfaces. Bar napkin number 57. When you date a bartender, you have to watch a million men grope her with their eyes. Another million ask her out. And you have to stay silent. You have to keep smiling. Doesn't matter if you've lost your past loves to other men better than you. This is gonna be different. Ha ha ha. Wake up, fucker, you ain't that lucky. June 21. My grandmother died a year ago today. I woke up this morning and cried, like it was just yesterday. I always called my grandma when I was sad. Now what? Love is irrelevant number. Who's seriously counting by now? Well, that's me. The guy pulling up in his 1982 Monte Carlo. I was excited. It was date night. I was going to wow her. I was going to make her forget about every other guy. I don't care who she dated. She was going to want just me. But as I pulled up, there was a BMW sitting in her driveway. I pulled up to the curb. I got out of the car when I saw her come out. She was dressed to the nines, heels, short dress, black. I looked over at the driver of the BMW. He was Arabic, smiling at her, and then turned and frowned at me, his brown skin glistening with sweat. "Who the hell is this?" I asked her. She stopped and looked at me in shock. "Oh, God, I'm sorry, Brad. I totally forgot." "Forgot what?" "I made a date with Rami." She clicked her tongue, shrugged, and then proceeded to get into the car. "What?" I immediately saw red. "Liz, you made a date with two people at the same time?" I said, "I'm sorry, Brad. Jesus, chill out. Just go home." Go home? Wait, Rami? You mean art gallery Rami? Rami was the owner of the art gallery I showed my work in downtown Omaha. He also owned a few restaurants. She introduced us a while back. "Brad," she said sternly, "don't make a big deal out of this. I told you this is what I wanted. Just go home. I'll call you tomorrow." Fuck that. And I lost my shit. I tried to open Rami's door. He locked it and rolled his window all the way up. I went over to the rock garden she had near the front steps, and I grabbed a large stone. Rami put his BMW in reverse, and I tried to back out. I threw the stone into his driver's side window and smashed it. He put on the brakes, and I reached into his window and grabbed him by the shirt. "Come here, Rami," I shouted. "We're going to have a little talk." "Please, Brad," he said in that annoying accent of his. "Let's just talk about this." I got him to the ground, and I sat on his chest, pinning his shoulders with my knees. "Oh, we're going to talk, Rami." I brought my fist back. Liz was still in this car, screaming at me to leave. And before I could throw that first punch, I thought about how none of this was his fault. He just thought he was going on an innocent date. He didn't know she had scheduled it on the same night she scheduled our date. And here I am, smashing out his window and ready to smash out his teeth. She didn't give him promises of a long life together. She hadn't told him how he was special and her one and only, and then wanted to date other men. Not yet, at least. I stood up, brushed myself off, and then offered my hand. He looked at me frightened. "It's okay, man," I said apologetically. I'm terribly sorry. I'll pay for the damage." He got up and shook himself off and then nodded his head. "It's okay," he muttered. Just have a good night." "Yeah, right." He got back into his car and left. I went to get back into mine and it wouldn't start. Perfect. Awesome. It was 14 miles back to my apartment. I cried all the way back, halfway wanting to jump into traffic or maybe leap off the I-80 bridge. Bar napkin number 58. Words are the blood spilling from my heart. Ink is the blood spilling from this pen. A blood-soaked napkin. What the fuck am I gonna do with this? Bar napkin number 60. Control-Alt-Delete. Control-Alt-Delete. Damn, it doesn't work on real life. Bar napkin number 61. You look down the length of the bar, and you see your future. It makes you sad, because you've become the furniture. Bar napkin number 62. I run and dive and drown in a deep pool of whiskey. Jack and Coke, a shot of Jameson, and after 9 p.m., I forget who I am. Manukuru. I was given the Maori name translated broken bird. The man who gave it to me said I was like a bird without a nest. I never understood what that meant until I grew up into this life. We moved around so much growing up. My parents divorced. I divorced twice. Attempted suicide a few times. I date emotionally unavailable women. I have moved like a gypsy in my own adult life. I am always feeling unsettled. I still have part of my life in boxes. Always afraid to empty that last box. So yeah, I guess I'm a little broken. Love is Irrelevant number 15. That's me at North Memorial Hospital. Kristen is giving birth to a baby boy. No, it's not mine. Her boyfriend left her after she got pregnant. So, being the codependent white knight that I am, I jumped in to help. She and I met at a party. She worked at Austin Hearing as well, but on the other end of the building. She was beautiful. Dark curly hair, deep blue eyes, and long legs up to her neck. But she liked to drink, and so did I. I got a part-time job through her at the bar she worked at. I bounced at the door for Polly's Club in Chaska. She worked as a waitress. I moved her in with me, and we shared affection for one another. But most of our affection happened after mass quantities of booze. I went to Lamaze classes with her and did all the things a dad would do for his partner and his kid. But they weren't either. But I could pretend, right? When she went into labor, it was unlike anything they taught us in class. "Bradley," she said calmly, "I think it's time." "What?" I panicked, but grabbed her suitcase and we headed out the door. "Can we stop at Polly's so I can pick up my paycheck?" she asked. "Seriously?" "Yeah, I'm okay so far. The contractions are miles apart." So we stopped at Polly's, and of course we sat and had a drink. I had a Jack and Coke, and she had a glass of wine. The whole thing was surreal to me. We left and started towards the hospital. "Do you think we can stop at Target and grab a few things?" she asked. "What the fuck, Chris?" I said incredulously. "You're having a baby." "It's okay, we have time." So we stopped at Target. I was a basket case by then. When we got to the checkout, there was a long line. I spoke up. "My friend is in labor here. Does anyone mind if we cut ahead?" Everyone was gracious and congratulated me. A part of me beamed because deep down, I wanted to be that dad that got congratulated and helped his woman make it to the hospital. We got back into the car and I punched it. "Are you about done skipping around town?" I said sarcastically. "Yep," she said. "I think my water broke." Oh, Jesus Christ. She gave birth to a baby boy. She named him Brad Lee. It made me feel odd. Well, the entire thing made me feel odd. There were things I saw a man should probably never see come out of a woman. The doctor asked me if I wanted to cut the cord. I declined. Then he held up the placenta, and I almost fainted. It was 2 hours of labor, and she was ready to shower and head downstairs and have a cigarette. She was one crazy broad. But that would end. I paid $275 a month for rent. Or sorry, I paid $2.75 for an open bottle ticket because of her. I bailed her out of jail twice for a DUI. All the while, her mom or my friends would babysit little Brad Lee. The last straw was when I was called by Eden Prairie Police to pick her up. She was passed out in her car in a bar parking lot. I let her go out while I watched Ben. The officer took me aside for letting her go. "You love this girl?" he asked. I thought about it for a while. Did I? We got along great. Sex was great. I watched a damn kid pop out of her crotch, for fuck's sakes. But was it love? I couldn't answer that truthfully. "Yeah," I said. "Then let me explain something to you." She blew a .46 on the Alka-Sensor. "Okay. A woman her size should be in a coma. Look at her." Kristen was dancing around the drunk tank while she was at a party. Like she was at a party. "Get her to treatment, man," he said. "She's gonna kill herself or someone else." So the next morning after breakfast, I sat her down and I had a heart-to-heart. "Chrissy," I said. She was tickling Brad Lee under his chin, making him giggle. "Yeah? We gotta do something about all this drinking." "What do you mean?" "We can't keep doing this. We, or you, us, I don't know. We have to be better parents." "You're not his parent, Brad." And that was kind of a slap to the face. I know, but Anthony is his dad." "Well, yeah, but you've been a great help, Brad, but I think Anthony wants to be part of his life, part of our lives." Okay. "I brought little Bradley to see him the other day. We talked, and I think we're going to try and work things out." "What the fuck, Chris? Don't be mad, Brad. Be happy that little B is going to have a daddy after all. You should be happy for me, too." A day later, Anthony came and picked them both up and left. Bar napkin number 62. Sometimes I can hear the whisper within the wind, the truth in the thunder, the peace in the rain. But sometimes I can hear a little broken boy crying in the distance. I ran from him. He scares the ever-living shit out of me. Bar napkin number 64. There's a crazy lady who lives next door. She drinks with a painkiller chaser. She holds conversations with herself. She's alone and insane. And someday, I'll be just like her. Bar napkin number 57. When you laugh maniacally and tears of sadness stain your cheeks, that's when you know you've made it. Bar napkin number 59. Fools are the rebound who believe it's love. It's not love. It's 4 months of the greatest sex you'll ever have, with a few promises thrown in, a few white lies, to make yourself believe that the entire thing was real. Bar napkin number, let's just go with 60. How's that sound? November. Oh heck, I've got the flu pretty bad. December. Geez, I can't seem to shake this flu. January. Oh great, it's pneumonia. February. I still have pneumonia. March. Oh, that's a little better. April. Nope, it's still there, hitting me hard now. May. My God, why won't this shit let me go? June. Can't breathe, blacking out. My lung collapsed. There's a lesion on my lung. July. I'm gonna cut that cancer right out of my lung. August. When am I gonna be able not feel this pain? September. I wish I could breathe better, but half a lung is better than none. October. I'm back to being a little more like myself. November. I'm feeling better. Woohoo! December. Wait, what do you mean you want to break up? January. Wait, Mom has dementia? February. Mom? March. Mom? I'm trying to help you. What do you mean you want me to help you die? April. I just spent 2 months with my mom and now you want to break up and have me out of the house? May. I really like this new town and my new apartment. Wish Mom could move in with me. June. Oh no. Grandma. Rest in peace. July. Oh my God, Mom! Fuck! Rest in peace. August. I just can't do life anymore. I know I'll just become an alcoholic. September. Holy shit! According to my DNA test, the man who raised me, cared for me, loved me, is not my father. October. Happy birthday, Mom. But I'm so angry with you right now. December. Learning a new skill. Woohoo! January. Oh, fuck. I broke my ankle. Bad. It just wobbles at the end of my leg. I'm seeing a pattern here. Bar napkin number 61. When the guy you call brother asks for your gun. When the friend you hardly know calls you on a hunch. When neighbors stop by out of the blue. When the people you call friends whisper that they care. It's time to do something different. Bar napkin number 62. Don't be surprised when you growl enough hatred and reality. People will walk out of your life, which I guess is better than running out of your life, right? Fathers and sons. Every boy needs a father. A father needs a son. They play and wrestle. When the son is older, he hates, he fights, he believes the half-truths of the mother. The father is abandoned, and this carries over into his son's adulthood. When the son is sick, the father appears. The mother disappears. The son doesn't know how to accept this love. He only knows that this is the love he always wanted. Soon the son realizes that his father has grown old, and he misses the younger version that wanted to coach his baseball team, that wanted to play basketball with him. The son regrets, and the father regrets. And when the mother passes, the son hears the other half-truth, and his history is whole, but not without wounds, reopened to bleed another round of tears. Love is Irrelevant, number 17. That's me, sitting on the front porch of our farmhouse. I've got my 14th cigarette in my hand, and Kay is working on her 19th. We both were crying, but I'm mostly just numb. You can have the house, she said to me. I'll move in with my mom and dad. Why don't you move in with your boyfriend? I said a bit angrily. She didn't answer. She only smashed out her cigarette and went to get another from her empty pack. She shook it and then crumpled it up. I offered her one from my pack, which she lit and then sucked on it. We can go over how we split our stuff up later, she said, exhaling. I don't want much. Are we getting lawyers? Hopefully we can agree on everything so we don't need to. We can just file it and be done. We don't have any children to fight over. No thanks to you. That one stung her. I saw it on her face and it made me feel good to stab her like that. And so we separated. I sat in a large farmhouse and stewed over what had happened. Under my roof, under my nose, The guy she had been seeing while I was out serving and protecting was a Culligan guy. In my bitterness, I hooked up with another woman, Lee Littlefeather. She had 2 children of her own from her previous marriage. As the both of us began to see more and more of each other, I got closer and closer to her daughters. We had gone camping one week and we both had off. It rained like a bastard, so we ended up staying at my farm. I was going to make breakfast, but all the food I had for breakfast was at our campsite we abandoned, so I headed out there while everyone slept. Kay had come home after I left. She was furious and kicked everyone out. She was waiting for me when I got back. "You were sleeping with another woman in our bed?" she growled. I tried not to get angry. "Isn't that why we're in this predicament we're in? Because you were sleeping with your old boyfriend in our bed?" "I thought we were going to try to work things out, Brad." "Are you still seeing your boyfriend?" "We're just friends." "What fucking ever, Kay." And so the divorce happened. $5,000 later. I lost the house, my boat, my dogs, and 90% of the furniture. I also lost my family. That's right. Kay told everyone that I was the one that cheated. And that's why she divorced me. And they believed her. I didn't bother trying to defend myself, because if they wanted to believe that of me, fuck them. I rented a cottage on the lake. I could fish off the deck. Still had my truck, and it was right around that time that I left the sheriff's department. So I had nothing but time. I cashed in my pension and took out like 3 credit cards and traveled like a motherfucker the entire summer. Bar napkin number 66. I will never. Don't ever start a sentence like that. Bar napkin number 67. Typical brain conversation. Me. "Man, I'm feeling pretty confident today." Brain. "I wonder when something is going to pull the rug out from underneath us." Me. "Oh my God, shut the hell up and let me feel good for once." Brain. "I'm just going on history, man. You know how it is. Feel good, someone comes along and kicks us in the ghoulies." Me. "Well, then block them next time. You're my brain. You should be on top of that shit." Brain. "I prefer to think about writing, playing music, artsy stuff. I don't do the violence thing." Me. "I'm seriously gonna have you lobotomized." Brain. "Oh, what? Drown me in Jack Daniels again?" Me. "At least you're quieter when you're drunk." Brain. "Yes, but how do you think our liver feels about that?" Me. "I'm done talking to you. Seriously." Brain. "Don't you think it's a little ridiculous to post our conversation on Facebook?" Me. "Where's that goddamn bottle?" Brain. "I think it's time you rest the rest of your body and I have an intervention with you." Me. Ugh. Bar napkin number 67. I'm done loving things. They either die or go away. Fuck you, love. Your only gift is a broken heart. Bar napkin number 68. I was the alpha dog. Now I'm just a drunk in the corner with cuts inside and out. Bar napkin number 69. There it is. The urge to run. Fuck you all, I'm out. Bar napkin number 70. If you don't think I'm worth it, then I definitely don't think you are. Love is Irrelevant number 17. My mother, who suffered through dementia, went through the fact that her son had cancer several times that day. She kept asking Gina why they were at the hospital. Each time Gina told her, she would sob deeply. Yes, that Gina. We had found each other again, and we loved each other again. We were living in a farmhouse with her son. When I found out I had a tumor in my right lung, pneumonia that had lasted for months that collapsed my lung, and through a CT scan, found that it was a tumor. And here I was in a hospital in Edina, a violent storm brewing outside, waiting to have the tumor removed. The doctor told me it was possible I could die. It was around an important blood vessel near my heart, and if he so much as sneezed, I would bleed out. My grandmother comforted me. My aunties were there, and my cousin, a few friends. The surgery was a success, and I went home a week and a half later to recover. It was a hard road learning to breathe once again. Exercise that damn lung. Getting over the pain of a broken rib. I tried Oxy, but it turned me into a zombie, so I just used Tylenol and Advil. But a few months later, I was back at work. Light duty, new duties, but I was working. I said duty. And I was somebody again. I think the stress of everything took its toll on Gina and I, because it wasn't long after she asked me to move out. I went and spent 3 months helping my mom. I thought she wanted me to help her live comfortable and longer, but eventually she said she was ready to go. In June, my grandmother died of cancer. It took her fast, and I hated that because I had just talked to her the week before, and she sounded great. 3 weeks later, my mom collapsed while I was visiting her. She ended up in a hospital with a collapsed lung, and then there was a hole in her lung and she needed to be intubated. And then she had a stroke, and then the doctor said it was time to make a decision. And we decided it was best to pull the tube and let Mom fight for herself. And she did. They pulled it at noon, and she fought until 3:30 p.m. And now I'm back home. It's a year later. I've lost another beautiful relationship. I think I was more of a rebound guy for her. I had to put my dog, who has seen me through all of this shit in my adult life. She had cancer too. So this is where I am. I survived cancer twice. I've tried to find love several times. I keep watching others fall in love and others lose in their battle with cancer. So what's the point, really? There is no point, I guess. Love is this silly necessity that everyone seems to think we need. Like Valentine's cards and kissing someone at midnight on New Year's Eve. It's all inventive marketing. In the end, love is irrelevant. In this day and age, people fall in and out of love. Those who feel it the deepest usually waste it on someone who swims on the shallow end. You can love your kids, love your parents, love your significant others, and even your friends. But they all go away eventually, by choice or by death. We mourn them because we want them to stay. But if you have nothing to offer, why would they stay? You, my friend, are irrelevant. Bar napkin number 72. Love works like a business. You may be a big shot or the next best thing. She may even call you her favorite. But eventually, there's always someone better, sexier, younger, richer, funnier, and you, my friend, are redundant. Just a pile of emotionally washed up trash or a rumor to spread around town. Bar napkin number 70, let's just go with 76, how about that? I've been the guy with the gun in my mouth. I've been the guy with a noose around my neck. I've swallowed an entire bottle of pills with a bottle of scotch. I've cut myself open. I've sat in a car waiting for the fumes to consume me. There was nothing you could say to make me want to live. I had checked out. Why am I here? Because I have a dad. It would destroy if I was gone. I have kids who love me despite my faults. I have friends who would never forgive me if I left like that. Sure, I would be released from this pain, but I would leave a path of it behind. To the people I love and love me, nothing is ever promised. There are losses throughout life. For some reason, I'm supposed to brush off the dust and keep going. And so, because I love you, I will. Survival rates. The 5-year survival rate for lung cancer is 54% for cases detected when the disease is still localized within the lungs. However, only 15% of lung cancer cases are diagnosed at an early stage. I am that 54%, and I am that 15%. No one knows when you're checking out of this hotel. I know I up the risk factors the moment I put a cigarette in my mouth at age 14. I know I've lived a good life. I've done numerous things, and I've seen amazing sights that others have not. I have an amazing support system that is unmatched by any. I know that there is more love in this world than one can possibly imagine. I know that I love each and every one of you since the day we met. I know I have amazing kids that are growing up to be amazing people. So in this time of uncertainty, when we don't think we know anything, are scared of what's ahead, what I know is above, and I'm okay with that. Love you too, Bobby. Bar napkin number 84. He took one last long drag of that obligatory cigarette, blew out a plume of blue smoke, his whiskey glass sweating beads of regret. There on the screen were the last words he'd write for a very long time. Then he coughed blood into his tissue. "Hey," he said with a one-sided grin, "you're back." And the last bar napkin. Thank you. You've reached the end of this thing. You hung on to the end. I hope you weren't disappointed. I hope you weren't led astray. This is my mind, scattered and wounded. But I think we all are to some degree. Close the cover, take a breath, and order us both a Jack and Coke. I'll tell you a funny story. And that, my friends, is the end of Bar Napkin Rants. So, thank you guys very, very, very much for hanging out. As much as I love to read to you my stories, my horror stories or whatnot, reading you my poetry and some of the short little stories in there within was very hard for me because it's a huge piece of myself, and it's a lot of the dark shit that happens upstairs, and it is I can't believe I published a lot of what I did in there, but it was I did it because I thought maybe somebody else felt the same way, and that's kind of why I wanted the end of that book to. Did I touch the feels, Kev? Good. Yeah, this I just wanted people to know that you're not alone out there, and kind of explain to you why I am the way I am, and here we are. We're still friends, and we're all good, and we've all experienced pain to some degree, whether it be love with a significant other, or a spouse, or with a parent, and some of us have been unfortunate enough to lose a parent, and some of us have been unfortunate to lose any loved one, whether that be through death or through relationships and other things. And some of us have faced our mortality through cancer or other things, and it's not a fun place to be. And as depressing as and raw as some of the words that I wrote in that book, I'm here today, and I'm here today because of a lot of people that loved me and cared about me and fucking forced themselves on me. I've sat here writing my heart out till I was in tears, and people showed up at my door, and I'm like, what are you doing here? And they're just like, you shouldn't be alone tonight, so we're taking you out. And boom, I'm out eating tacos and drinking whiskey with somebody. So yeah, a lot of that has to be done, or could only have been done because of folks like you out there. Thankfully, none of you guys are talking me off a ledge too much anymore. You guys are just here listening to me rant and rave and read you scary stories. So for that, I'm very thankful. So we may do this again if I injure myself, or maybe I will pick a different night to do poetry. But next week we will be going back to Tunes for Tuesday, and I'll be picking a artist to learn, and that'll be same time, same channel. And tomorrow night we'll be doing Horror Hump Days as usual. And I wasn't going to read this story to you guys. It's called The Last Stronghold. And it is the short story that I had originally written about a zombie apocalypse. And it's about a dad and his two daughters trying to get to the Martin County Fairgrounds in Fairmont. It's very, very similar to Zechariah 14:12 that I had read to you guys a while back during our Apocalypse Hump Days. That is where that story came from. And so there's some of the same characters. There are some new characters. Definitely new situations in it, or different ones. And the ending is different. So I will be reading that for you guys tomorrow night, starting at 8 Central Standard Time. And the book is been through all the steps for publishing, and it shall be available to you on October 31st on Halloween is when the new book Thin Spots is coming out. There is a pre-order. If you want to pre-order it, you can pre-order it on Kindle. Otherwise, the paperback will be live on Halloween, and you guys will be able to order that too. Those of you that won the contest, I haven't forgotten about you. So after the 31st, I will be ordering those books for you guys and get those sent out to you, or I will be bringing them to you. I was in Fairmont on Sunday, and I was hoping to make it out there earlier so that I could come and visit with Shannon, and with Jason and Chuck, and but I didn't get out the door in time, and yeah, so, and daughter's got to come first, right? So we had a good time, we had a good chat, it was good to see her. So anyhow, I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks again, you guys hung out with me for over an hour with me reading poetry. So look at you guys being all cultured and stuff. See, we're not all ruffians, right? All right, thank you all very much for coming out tonight and listening. Love the shit out of you, and I hope to see you tomorrow night. Mwah. Peace. Bum, bum, bum.